What's up guys, Perry from Rockville here, and today I'm going to show you how to set up your SingMix 5V2 amplifier and receiver. As you can see, it comes with the amplifier itself, a pair of rack ears and some screws to attach them to the amplifier, and a wireless remote that doesn't include the battery, so if you're planning on using it, you need a couple of AAA batteries. Now, like I mentioned, the rack ears here can be attached to the sides of the amplifier to fit into any 2.5U rack unit. So to attach the rack ears, you're just gonna line up the holes of the rack ears to the 3 holes here on the sides of your amplifier, line up the screws to the holes, and use a screwdriver to lock it all in place. From there, we can line up the amplifier to a space on our rack unit, but this is all completely optional, and you don't have to attach the rack ears in order to use the amplifier, so also keep that in mind. So one of the first things we can do for our setup is connect our speakers to the amplifier. Now, as you can see, I'm using our very own KPS speakers that you might find in a live setting or at a karaoke bar, but you can also use home theater speakers with the amplifier like our very own Rock Shelf series, the Rock Slim series, and much more. Now, on the back of the amplifier, you'll see that we have 2 separate channels with channel A and channel B. Now, these channels open up a lot of different options that we can use with the amplifier as far as our speaker placements go. So for example, you can use both channels together and have multiple speakers set up in one room, or you can use each channel for separate rooms for a multi-room setup. So for example, I can use channel A for the sound in my living room and channel B for the sound in my kitchen. Another plus is that each channel has a left and right output, so you can have a stereo configuration in both rooms. Both channels are also 4 ohm stable, so this also opens up how many speakers we can have in our setup. For example, all of these speakers here are 8 ohms, so I can set up 2 for a channel A and 2 for channel B. You can set up any combination of 16, 8, or 4 ohm speakers as long as it doesn't fall below 4 ohms. If you're using 16 ohm speakers, you can use 4 speakers on channel A and 4 speakers on channel B for a total of 8 speakers in your setup that all equal to 4 ohms through parallel wiring. We have a video on how to parallel wire your speakers in case you need help with that setup. And here's a chart on all the different speaker combinations that you can have set up with this amplifier. So to connect my speakers to the amplifier, I'm gonna need some speaker wire. I'm gonna plug one end into the back of my speakers with the red wire matching the red positive and the black wire matching the black negative. Then I'm gonna take the other ends and plug them into the positive and negative terminals on the back of my amplifier. And again, I can use channel A and or channel B depending on the setup I wanna have. For today, I'll be using both channels, but keep in mind which speaker is heading to the left and which speaker is heading to the right. Now, if you are using the amplifier for a multi-room setup, another thing we can add to the middle is a volume controller like our very own Vol 850 or Vol 855. This way we can control the volume coming out of our speakers while our amplifier is in a separate room altogether. All you would have to do for that setup is take the speaker wire that's coming from the terminals on the back of your amplifier, plug the other end into the inputs of the volume controller. Next, you would take another speaker wire and plug one end into the outputs of the volume controller, then plug the other end into the terminals of your speakers. From there, you can set the volume of your amplifier to about 75%, which will give you plenty of headroom when using the controller to set the volume coming out of your speakers. If you need more help setting up your wall volume controller, check out our videos that we have on the Vol 850 and the Vol 855. So now let's go ahead and turn on the amplifier. Now on the front of the amplifier, you'll see that we have a button to activate channel A and a button to activate channel B, so that way we can hear everything coming from the amplifier out of the speakers. So even though you've connected the speakers to the channel A and the channel B terminals on the back, you won't hear anything unless you activate these channels on the front. So because we have our speakers set up to both channels A and B, I'm gonna activate both channels on the front. We can also use these buttons to mute any of these channels. So for example, if I wanted to hear music coming from channel B only, I can press channel A to deactivate it, and now I'll only be hearing the music coming out of channel B. Then again, if I want to bring channel A back, all I have to do is press channel A, and now we hear music coming from both speakers again. On the front of the amplifier, you'll see we have 3 mic inputs. So we have mic 1, mic 2, and mic 3. And then we have additional mic inputs for mic 4 and mic 5 on the back of the amp. We also have the RCA mic output so we can set up additional microphones with a mixer or an interface. So we have plenty of options to use multiple microphones at the same time, which would be great for a karaoke setup. So to show you how to set up a microphone, I have my mic right here and a female XLR to 1/4" cable. So I'm gonna take the XLR end and plug that into my mic. Then I'm gonna take the 1/4" end and plug them into any of the mic inputs here. For today, we'll use mic input 1. Next, I'm gonna wanna raise the mic volume knob here, which will give volume for all of the microphones in our setup. And now if I turn on my microphone, check 1 2, check 1 2, you should be able to hear my voice coming out of the speakers. Now we also have all of these controls here to affect the overall sound of our microphones with the treble, mid, and bass knobs. The treble knob will affect all of the high-end frequencies, so if I raise that, check 1 2, check 1 2, you'll hear my voice a little more clearly, but if I lower it, check 1 2, check 1 2, you won't hear it as much. And now if I raise that back to the middle, check 1 2, check 1 2, we get that balanced sound. Next, we have the mid knob to control the middle frequencies, which can also affect the presence of our voice. So if I raise that up, check 1 2, check 1 2, yeah, you'll hear a little more presence there. And then if I lower it, check 1 2, check 1 2, doesn't have as much body, so you're hearing the high and the low end. And if we bring that back in the middle, check 1 2, check 1 2, nice and balanced. Lastly, we got the bass knob to affect the low end frequency. So if I raise that up, check 1 2, check 1 2, you'll hear a lot more body, a lot more low end. If I lower it, check 1 2, check 1 2, you're not gonna hear any of that body at all. You're just hearing the mid and the high frequencies. And let's set that back to the middle, check 1 2, check 1 2, nice balanced sound. What's also really cool is that we can add some echo to our voice with the delay and delay speed knobs. So we can use the delay knob to set how much echo we want to have on our voice, and the delay speed to set how many times we want the voice to be echo or repeated. So for example, I'll raise the delay knob first, check, check. So you can hear it affected a little bit, and it's a fast delay. And if I raise the delay speed knob, check, you'll hear that the voice repeats a lot more. So you can have fun with these settings and play around with them so you're getting the perfect effect on your voice. Echo! Now on the other side of the amplifier, we also have a treble and bass knob to affect the sound coming out of our speakers. So again, the treble will affect all of the high end coming out of the speakers, and the bass knob will affect all of the low end coming out of our speakers. Next to that, we have the balance knob to pan the sound coming through the amplifier more to the left or more to the right. So for example, if you're playing music and you want more of it to come out of the left side of your speakers, you're gonna set this knob more to the left. And if you want the music to come out more on the right side, you're just gonna turn it more to the right. Keep in mind though that these controls won't affect the microphone because we already have the treble, mid, and bass knob for the microphones on this side here. Now on the back of the amplifier, you'll see that we have multiple inputs so we can connect many different sources to the amplifier at the same time, including the digital inputs here with the optical and the coax input. So if you wanted to use the optical input for your TV, you're first going to want to make sure that the optical output on your TV can be used for audio, and you'll know that it can if it says something like audio out optical. From there, you're just going to take an optical cable and plug one end into the optical output on your TV. After you do that, the other end of your optical cable will light up red, letting you know that the signal is coming out of your TV. Then you're just going to take that other end and plug it into the optical input on the back of your amplifier, and be sure to take out the cover before you do so. Now to make sure the sound coming from your TV is coming out of these speakers, you're going to want to go into the audio settings of your TV and switch the audio output to the audio out optical. You can also go into the expert sound settings and switch the audio format to PCM so that the stereo signal is being sent to your amplifier. You'll also want to be sure to set the amplifier to optical mode by using the optical button here. Then you'll want to raise the master volume on the amplifier, and now everything coming from your TV should be coming out of the amplifier and your speakers. Now if you wanted to use the coax output of your TV, you can follow the same steps, but by using a coax cable and using the coax input on the back of your amp. And then from there, you would just want to set the amplifier to coax mode by using the same button so it reads coax on the front instead of optical. Now, setting up your smart TV to the amplifier also helps with our karaoke setup, since we can go to the YouTube app on our TV, search for any karaoke version of a song, and start singing along to the lyrics on our TV while the music and our microphones are coming out of the speakers. Another way we can connect any sources to our amplifier is by using the RCA inputs on the back of the amp with the background music input and the aux input. We also have the USB input to connect any thumb drive to the amplifier. We even have an FM radio built into the amplifier, and there's also Bluetooth compatibility so we can pair any smartphone or tablet. So depending on what source you want to hear coming through your speakers, you're going to want to use these source buttons here on the front of the amp. So for example, the USB, Bluetooth, and FM radio are all paired to this button here on front. And to toggle through each of them, you're just gonna press this button and see what it says on the front, so you know you're either in USB, Bluetooth, or the FM mode. And the digital display on the front of the amplifier will tell you which mode you're set to. Same thing with the coax and optical input. You're gonna use this button to switch between these two sources and see what it says on the front so you know which mode you're set to. If you want the amplifier to play your aux device, you can just press the aux button. Or if you want to hear the background music input, you're just gonna press the BGM button right here. On the back, we also have audio outputs to expand our setup even further. So we can use the line output to set up additional mixers, speakers, or subwoofers, and we can use the mic output to set up even more microphones to our setup through mixers or interfaces. Another way we can set up karaoke is by using the built-in Bluetooth to pair any smartphone or tablet. So to set up Bluetooth through the amplifier, I'm gonna press this button here until it reads Bluetooth on the display. You'll see that it flashes the word blue when it's looking for a device to pair to. Next, I can take my smartphone or tablet and go into the Bluetooth settings, search for the device that reads SingMix 5v2, click on it to pair, and you'll know your device is connected when you hear that sound. So let's go ahead and hear how it sounds. So as you guys just heard, this amp is an absolute beast when playing music. You can also use it for a killer home theater setup. And because we have all these different mic inputs, it makes for a sick karaoke setup that we can use through our TV or through a Bluetooth device. So while you have your device paired to the amplifier, you can go into the YouTube app and search for any karaoke version of a song, plug in some microphones, and start singing along with the lyrics on your device while the music and your microphones are coming through the speakers. You can even throw in some delay for some extra star power, and you're all set to go. One last thing I wanted to mention is that you can also use your wireless remote to control all of these features and more. But remember, you just need to grab a pair of AAA batteries to plug into the remote, and you're all good to go. So hopefully this showed you guys how easy it is to set up your SingMix 5v2. But of course, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to reach out to our customer support team through phone or email. As always, I'm Perry from Rockville, and we'll see you guys next time.